listening to a podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants with hosts Willie Dills, Chad King, and Ben Lee.
Let's go Giants! SF Giants! Let's go Giants! SF Giants! Dedicated to the greatest team in Major League Baseball history, the San Francisco Giants. This is Torture Cast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the National League champion San Francisco Giants. That feels good to say, actually.
That sounds good.
That sounds pretty good. My name is Willie Dills. Yeah, let's all embrace. Let's just think about that just for a quick second. All right, actually, we probably shouldn't be silent on a podcast. My name is Willie Dills, and this is episode 40, the Madison Bumgarner episode, if you will, or the World Series preview episode. And, of course, I'm joined by my two co-hosts. We got, of course, Mr. Chad King.
Hello.
What's up, buddy?
Man, I
you fired up?
Here. Dude, 6 in a row. I feel like this is a dream.
It really feels like that. And, of course, my other co-host is second favorite team and first favorite team are currently playing in the World Series. So
he's conflicted.
This is, Ben, baseball heavy Lee right now, right?
I am nothing of the sort, but I'm excited. Hardly conflicted. I've already established I probably can't wear my Detroit Tigers cap in San Francisco for the next 3 years.
Yeah, probably not. Well, you know what? If
we win,
yeah.
It'll be about a year, and then I can wear it. If we don't, it's going to be about 5
nobody's gonna
or
be
until the next time we go to the World Series.
I think actually Angels hats still not allowed anywhere in San Francisco, but, I'm totally fine with the Rangers hat.
We're slowly healing from that. I feel like if I look at an Angels cap, I'm not going to punch you since 2010 or so.
Yeah.
I'm just going to look at you for a second and be like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah. It's funny because I used to not really care about the Angels at all. And now it's just any team from LA. No, not into it. So, of course.
First it was just like Dodgers. No. Angels. You haven't hurt anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, you haven't done anything to me, and then suddenly, yes, you did. So let's talk about what happened first. Let's get into that because, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably already know. But let's recap for just a second. The Giants got down 2-0 against
what? No way.
The Reds. Yeah,
sorry,
and they came back and won 3 in a row.
They can't come back from that.
No, yeah. SF Gate commenters said, "Oh my God, the season's over." We all knew it. Whatever. Now we get down 3-1 against the Cardinals. We actually spotted ourselves a game this time. We didn't get down the full 3-0. And then magically decided to win 3 more games again in a row. And not just win them, dominate them. I mean, hold the Cardinals, one of the better offenses in baseball, to 1 run over 3 games.
There was not a lot. There was a fine Redbird mist left, really, at the end.
It was complete and utter domination, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, the rain in the 9th inning last night was really just the Cardinals' tears.
You think so? Yeah. Well, MLB Jesus is a Giants fan, so maybe his dad is a Cardinals fan, and so he started crying. I don't know. Could be.
I'm willing to go either way with that one.
MLB God, yeah.
I think it's kind of a push.
Yeah, that's why there's a lot of conflict in that house.
I feel like someone should create an MLB God account, but it shouldn't be a Giants fan just to create some balance in the heavens.
Totally, exactly. Yeah.
Just as long as it's not a Dodgers fan, I'm good.
Yeah. So let's talk real quick about. When we got down 3-1, Chad, where were you at mentally? Were you feeling like, hey, we just did it in Cincinnati, we can totally do this again, or were you really doubting the situation?
Actually, I thought it was more possible than I did think so in Cincinnati. But you have to understand, we're still dealing with micro percentages in my brain.
Yeah.
Even if I thought it was more likely, it's still so far beyond the realm of possibility, especially because you got to figure, how can a team do this 2 times in a row?
It's got to drain you just a little to do it once, right?
Hunter Pence, his pregame speeches hasn't worked all the time. They're down 3-1. They got Zito going tomorrow night. This is looking so good. It's possible but it's not looking so good. So I was in Tahoe, so I just basically got drunk and went and gambled and kind of forgot about the whole night. But the next night was incredible. I watched the first half of the game with my family in the hotel room, and my wife thought I was probably going to murder my children with the stress that I was exuding in the hotel room. So about halfway through the game, even after they went up 4-0, she said, "Go to the casino, get out of here." So I immediately booked it over to
Gone. Okay, bye.
yeah, see ya. Went over to Harvey's in South Lake and proceeded to pull up to the bar with a bunch of other Giants fans, fit right in.
Nice.
And there's something about watching a game with other Giants fans that makes it less stressful and more enjoyable.
Yeah, no, it does. Absolutely. When I watch a game by myself at home, it really is. I mean, I'm on every pitch. I'm freaking out, especially a playoff game.
Absolutely.
But the last 3 days, 4 days with one break in the middle,
right,
have basically been a massive party because we've gotten up early. I've been at Zeke's and with a bunch of people, and everyone rooting for the Giants, and we get up early and then it's just party time, and it is much less stressful. So if anybody out there is freaking out like Chad, go to the bar. There's everybody at every bar right now is going crazy every game. So
I think that's where the adage "misery loves company" came from.
Sure.
Because if you're by yourself and you're just drinking in a corner and you're stressed out over every pitch, it's not a good feeling. Even if the Giants are winning, I still get stressed out.
No, totally. Have a bad time.
Dude, up 9-0.
You have bets, you have fun. You're like, oh, I can't embarrass myself by crying, all those things.
Yeah. I mean, we got
going to sit and keep worrying, you're going to have a bad time.
We got up 6-0, and a bunch of people in there started talking about the Tigers, and I was like, shut up.
Yeah, don't you dare jinx this, or I will come after you.
Exactly. It's like, come on, guys. We still have to win this game. I mean, they came back from 6-0 before.
Even people at the game, because I was actually at Game 6, and oh man, I've never heard the park that loud ever. It was amazing. But people would start mumbling about stuff, and I'm just like, shh, don't you talk right now. Like,
yeah. No, I mean, with Zito on the mound too, coming into Game 5.
Yeah.
It was that added to the confidence of the Cardinals fans at that point was unbelievable because, they're up 3-1 and they're thinking our worst pitcher is coming out there. Guy who struggled already once in the playoffs is going to come out there. Guy who didn't even make the playoff roster in 2010. And
did not look very good in the NLDS when he pitched either.
He looked horrible. He walked 4 in, less than 3 innings or whatever. I mean, it was awful. So
he was gone. Tim Lincecum had to take over.
Yeah. But
and then they switched places.
The Twitter handle Rally Zito just cropped up, and
that is actually attributable to a username @Chi.
Okay,
a guy named Adrian. I have met him. Awesome dude. Decided, you know what, Rally Zito, and he changes his avatar to a picture of Barry Zito, and we're all like, suddenly everybody on Twitter is talking about. And I admit I didn't change mine. Just because I didn't end up having the time to look for a good Zito photo.
I did.
It's funny because so many of my friends were just putting them up everywhere. And it was just so strange to suddenly watch that, like to see somebody that I know on Twitter mention it and pass it along to other people I follow on Twitter. And they started doing it. And all of a sudden it's this whole thing. And you're like, wait, Rally Zito is trending in all of San Francisco. Like, so it's crazy. So for anybody out there who doesn't know, anybody who doesn't know, that was started by a Giants fan who has an unhealthy obsession with Aaron Rowan, but is otherwise a completely awesome guy.
That trended worldwide. It was on the Fox News broadcast or the Fox.
Yes, the Fox Ken Rosenthal noticed that because he's very Twitter savvy.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
My picture on Facebook is still Rally Zito. I'm just going with it because at this point I changed it on Twitter to Vogelsong and then to Kane, but I'm just sticking with the Rally Zito thing forever now. I mean, it got us this far. I'm sticking with it. So Rally Zito will stay. That's game 1. Game 1 against Verlander. We got Zito going. And so we need to Rally Zito will definitely be back, I'm sure. But I mean, to me, what ended up happening was the fans even decided we can do this again. It wasn't even a question of let's all talk down about this team right now. I mean, of course, there's always those people who are just down. Every time we lose, fire Bochy. Every time we win, oh my God, praise Brian Sabian. I mean, it's like unbelievable how up and down people are.
Well, I mean, when you've got such a wide cross section, you're going to get that. But yeah, you definitely hear a lot more of it after every loss. Like, ditch Zito, he's never done anything for us. Trade Tim Lincecum. some like, why did
after
we
he had
switch to Matt Cain? I'm like, because he did great. We just didn't hit. Shut up, you people. You know?
Well, after he had one bad game, I mean, suddenly you heard like he should never start again in the playoffs. He blew his one chance. You know what I mean? And now, come on, the guy went into the 8th inning, the only guy who had done that at that point, and blanked a really good team when we needed that to happen. And it's one of those things where you can't just give up on a guy. You just can't do it.
Who a team that crushed left-handers too.
Yeah, absolutely. And the good news is that the Tigers actually do not crush left-handers.
One game above 500 for the year.
Yeah, they struggle against lefties, and we now we're looking at we got 2 lefties.
We need to take advantage of it. Absolutely.
Exactly. The problem is, of course, that we also have to face Verlander. So. We'll talk a little bit more about that.
So about that taking advantage thing, we have to take advantage of their hitters.
So, Ben, what do you think was the key to us suddenly being able to turn this around? I mean, what happened? Scudero hit in every game, so that didn't change.
Nope.
Posey never got going. Pence, game 7, sure, but you know what I mean? Like, before that, he didn't get going. Panda wasn't, like, bad to begin. You know what I mean? What really changed here?
I think... You got to give a lot of credit to Barry Zito, actually, I think, because going into game 5, you're really not expecting the kind of and even Zito, you can say easily, like Zito wasn't dominant that game. And yet Cardinals hitters had absolutely no idea what to do with him. It was just sort of this vague, there's a ball coming at me. Oh my God, it's so fast at 85 miles an hour. I don't know what to, I missed it. Guys, I missed it.
He was mixing speeds on his.
He was,
on all
and
of his
curveball was snapping, and that was the same thing we saw with Adam Wainwright. Comparing Adam Wainwright's previous NLDS start with his NLCS start, that curveball had serious bite to it, and that curveball was really the biggest reason that our hitters had absolutely no idea what to do with him. Like we want to say that he got, that Tim Lincecum got caned, but Lincecum also just was showing himself to be really hittable that game as a starter, whereas Wainwright just was breaking off curveballs everywhere that nobody was going to get anywhere near. And so the biggest issue with playing against Wainwright was that we couldn't hit his curveball. The same thing was happening to the Cardinals. Zito found that curveball. He got that really good 12-6 snap on it, so it was coming straight down. And it's so much harder to hit a curveball straight down than it is when it's coming at a bit of an angle. And when you throw a fastball there and a guy just has that curve stuck in his head, it's like a guy who's waiting on Romo's slider and gets a fastball. Like it's a completely different look. You have no idea it's coming. And when he throws it up high, it looks so tempting there. You're like, oh, it's a fastball, but I can hit that. It's totally hittable. And you swing right under it.
Well, he was locating just above the hands, just
Very
off the
so.
plate on the outside. I mean, all of the pitches that he was throwing were pinpoint location. And it was, he had a couple of hangers here and there, but he'd gotten to the point, I think, at that stage of the game where he had the hitter so off balance they weren't even able to take advantage of the mistakes anymore. Like he did hang a couple of pitches and completely got away with it. So, I think you're right. Definitely the Barry Zito start turned the tide of that series. But I think ultimately too, it was the second inning. I think it wasn't even just the entire start. I think literally in that second inning when the double play, Lynn hits into the double play. Mm-hmm. I think literally at that moment, the tide turned in that series. Because once that happened, the Giants never looked back. It was from that moment on, domination. I mean, it was like Zito wasn't even getting in trouble anymore. And they had runners on in the first and second. Once that happened, it was like, nope, forget it. We got this.
I want to point out one thing that everybody really noticed during this game, though. If you look at the way that the two defenses stacked up, the Giants played impeccably.
No, absolutely.
The Cardinals, you probably could have just started playing the Benny Hill theme every inning. The Cardinals defense went up.
Well, I
feel bad.
Cosmo looked like he didn't know how to play shortstop. I mean, a
little bit. Well, and I mean, obviously you got to give credit to Hunter Pence for that ridiculous
Oh no, that wasn't a play. That wasn't a play any shortstop. I'm not talking about that play. I'm talking about balls are going
some of
off
the other
his glove.
Ones. Right.
He was misplaying balls. Just getting to the wrong hop. That play where he threw home was ridiculous.
He was playing double play depth. He wasn't even on the grass. He comes in on the ball.
Question to throw to first there. You have to.
It's a step and a half late. I mean, it's ridiculous.
No, I mean maybe he was thinking, we're already down 5.
You got to try and preserve it.
I got to try to not
get any
let us
worse.
down. Yeah, but if you're gonna do that,
but I mean, even he said, he's like, I don't know why I did that.
Yeah. If you put it double play depth and you get a ball, you're not going home. The guys on the corner can go home. You cannot. So, but yeah, I mean, it's very true that the Giants defense saved their ass a bunch of times. I mean, the Brandon Crawford leaping catch in Game 7.
The contrast between Crawford and Cosma was so sharp. And the contrast even between Scudero and Descalso was really sharp. Scudero had that really, really gorgeous sliding play, getting onto the outfield grass, going down to a knee, and then just spinning up and
just
throwing
whipping around and firing it. Yeah,
that play was almost as fun as when he decided to olay with his arms in the middle of another play. Like, that was the strangest thing. He was basically
the strangest thing.
He spun around
and was like, "Yup," and then just turned around.
Threw his arms up like, I got this.
It's kind of like when Pagan made that sliding catch and then leapt into the air and did a fist pump, but I thought he threw the ball. Like, it looked to me like he had thrown the ball.
The one where he did the slide and spun around and both legs came up like he was doing karate.
And did a mighty fist cut or a fist pump. And then I was like, that's 3 outs. Why is he throwing the ball? And then I realized, no, he's just celebrating. So,
yeah.
But, I mean, it was definitely, completely different story on one side of the baseball to the other as far as defense. I mean, it was just lights out defense from the Giants. I mean, Blanco running everything down, Pence making his normal awkward but amazing plays. I mean, he caught a ball with one hand then the other.
Yep. He caught it with his heels of both hands. There were no fingers on that catch.
He took a divot out of the grass with his knee and
he put it back.
Yeah, he did.
Put it back because he's a gentleman.
Any ball that was hit to him was just so fun to watch because we all knew that something weird was about to go down.
Yeah, we didn't know he'd catch it, but we knew it was going to be interesting, whatever it was.
I feel pretty good about him. He will catch it. It just won't be conventional. He just doesn't do it how you do it. You know,
there were a couple there were one or two that he should have at least knocked down, but for the most part, Pence looked really good. I mean, he's no Nate Shearholtz, and we all know that, but he's definitely an athlete. In his own interesting, doesn't move his upper arms when he runs away, but he's absolutely an athlete. He does a very good job. You know, kind of he has more range than you expect out of him in the outfield. He'll just sort of gangle his way there really quickly, and then just and then you're like,
But did you ever notice the arch in his back? I think he's going to have some posture issues when he's older. It just looks like he's going to be hunched over when he's like 65. Yeah, a little scoliosis, a little something.
Too many sit-ups and not enough stretching. But that's,
what's funny for a guy hitting as poorly as he's hitting. The fans never really got down on him. I mean, I know that people were saying, "Oh my God,"
people were frustrated. Yeah,
people were frustrated with his at bats, but nobody was ever like, "Get rid of this guy, take him out of the lineup, whatever." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bruce Bochy just kept running him out there in the 5 spot. He had one game he dropped into the 6 spot, and that's when Sanchez caught, and that was the Lincecum start. Other than that, no, he was in the 5 spot every single day, and that's where he needs to be. I think. I mean, I personally think that it's gonna happen for him. But whatever does happen with him, he's bringing a lot to this team, and I think that's why people haven't gotten down on him.
Well, Scudero is not going to hit. Most likely he's not going to hit 500 in the World Series. And
if you don't take a guy who's hitting as well as he is out of the position he's hitting in either, like you just don't do that. I don't think.
But with Posey and Pence combining for 7 hits in the entire 7 games of the LCS, and Scudero has 14 by himself, and that's your 4 and 5 hitters. Yeah, you got to increase that production because Scudero is not going to get 14 hits in the World Series.
No,
so those guys got to pick up that slack.
Although, so here's my question though: what did you notice about the difference in what we saw from Posey and from Yadier Molina?
Well, Molina definitely outplayed Posey in this series.
I would say so. Defensively, I'd say they matched up pretty well.
Molina had 4 hits. Molina had 4 hits last night.
Yeah, that's right. In Game 7, he went 4 for 4. But
and Posey had 3 hits the entire series.
Yeah. Well, Posey did not throw out Beltran, which surprised me. Beltran's on.
By the way, he's 11 for 11.
I know.
History.
Apparently, he picks the spots really well, but he's on a bum knee and he's not moving so quick. And Posey didn't have a good pitch to throw on there, but Posey didn't let any balls get by him. There was no real. I mean, I don't.
There were 1 or 2, but they weren't in tight situations.
Were there any pass balls in the entire series?
I don't know if there were any pass balls. There were a couple wild pitches that he would almost get a glove on.
Well, if there's nobody on base, who cares? But I mean,
while there were guys on base, but there were guys on base in 9-0 situations. So
I can't even remember a single.
There was one in the rain at the end of Game 7. Nobody was really feeling particularly judgmental about it because
I'm sure.
At that point, it was like, yeah, dude, no, do your thing.
But no, I think honestly, defensively, that it was a wash. But yeah, Molina is a great player, and he will get some MVP votes. I still think that we're looking at Buster Posey's year, but
I don't think he's going to get it, but I do think he should get it. He's going to get at least
he'll get some votes. Yeah. And here's the other thing too. This is totally weird. Do you think that Posey now just assumes that when you play a full season of baseball, you just are in the World Series at the end? Is he just like that's how it works now?
Well, he didn't even play a full season of baseball the first one.
Well, I know. Well, yeah, but I mean, if you're there at the end, you're in the World Series.
No, I think what we assume at this point is that if Jeremy Affeldt has a baby, then he's going to the World Series.
Sure. See, I mean, if
2007
Posey,
it worked with the Rockies, 2010 it worked, and 2012 he had another kid, and here we are.
If Posey doesn't get injured in 2011, I'm sorry, but that alternate universe where that happened, the Giants won again. The Giants went back to back, and now we're about to go back to
three in
back.
a row.
Three
Yeah,
totally. Back to off to back.
Yeah. So all right, let's move on. Let's start talking about. Well, actually, no. Let's stick with this for just a little bit, but let's talk about some of the other weird things here. So, 6 elimination games in a row. Now,
First NL team to do that.
Well, the Cardinals had done that. We're actually at 6 elimination games in a row yesterday. Then they lost. So now the Giants basically replaced them as the. And then the Royals did the 6 elimination games in one playoffs. And that was
right.
what,
No, that's I didn't mean like in like team history, but like in one playoff season.
Yeah, no. The Cardinals had them in a row, but over several.
The Royals weren't NL. So we were first NL team, which is almost. It's awkward when you say like first in the National League, and you're like, well, that is good, but someone's done it on the other side. So,
well, here's what I think the Giants should do. Let's go for the unbeatable record. Let's go ahead and get down 3-0. And let's get 10 of these. You'll never know that's a record. Like, forget Joe DiMaggio. Like, that would be a record that would never be broken. I'm actually not advocating that. Let's please not do that. I might have a heart attack if we do that. All right, let's talk about the Pence weird hit. Okay.
Oh my God.
We briefly brought it up.
Oh my God.
So,
oh my God.
The one good thing about the Fox broadcast is that slow motion thing. That is pretty cool.
I'll say there are two good things about the Fox broadcast. Neither of them start with or end with the words Buck or McCarver. Mm-hmm. But maybe 3. I really liked the slow-mo cam. Mm-hmm. I actually really liked Ken Rosenthal, surprisingly. I thought did a great job. I had no qualms with Ken Rosenthal.
Aaron Andrews is a little more easy on the eyes, though. I guess you're an Amy G guy, huh?
Or Jamie Sire, but I mean,
okay,
whatever.
well, yeah, sure.
No,
we're all Jamie Sire guys. Come on, we're all Jamie Sire.
I'm at the point where the easy on the ice thing is less interesting to me than the baseball thing because in America you can find that everywhere.
Sure, yeah. I'm actually gonna go on the internet and find that in a second.
I think ABG does a terrific job online. She just can be a little tough to listen to sometimes, but what she has to say is usually interesting for Giants fans. I can see why it'd be tough on anybody else kind of tuning in. Anyway, the last thing I thought they really did a good job with was picking their spots as far as what coverage they reused, what clips they took, some of the footage they found, especially towards the end of the game. Especially, I haven't had enough of that Marco Scudero in the rain clip. I'm probably never going to have enough of that.
The Shawshank Redemption clip.
Yeah. I feel really bad that the people at the stadium didn't get to see that because that was possibly the most glorious clip in the history of ever. Followed only by, in second place, Hunter Pence staring as there's a crossfade from the American flag, looking incredibly awkward during God Bless America. And I loved every second of that too.
Well, the bat hitting the ball in this situation, the Hunter Pence, as Chad's calling it, the triple double. I'm calling it the first 3-for-1 ever.
We're just gonna call out these alien hits.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys saw. I actually made a meme. This is the first time I've ever done this in my life. I think I put it on Facebook and Twitter.
I did. I just saw that now. Actually,
I didn't get a chance to see that one.
I just
check that out. It's a picture of the bat breaking, and it says when he comes to the plate, he goes 3-for-1. He is the most interesting hitter in the world. And the other one I was maybe going to go with was I don't always hit the ball, but when I do, I go 3-for-1. So those are the two. I mean, because he's such a weirdo, and only Hunter Pence has this hit. I mean, really.
Yeah.
It shatters his bat. He hits it. It's not quite on the handle. It's still kind of close to the sweet spot, honestly, which is it was weird to see this bat break the way it did. I mean, it
It
basically
was
breaks.
a little bit in from the sweet spot, barely, but it's
But
just
it wasn't the hand. I mean, it wasn't on the handle. It was still on the actual widening part of the bat. You know what I mean?
If the Fox coverage has taught me anything, it's that no bat looks safe because those things wobble so hard when they get hit. If you're looking at 300 frames a second,
Yeah. Well, no, but you notice though, a couple times they would show it. I think Belt's home run was one where you see the bat barely moves at all because you hit it
Right.
directly on the sweet spot. And
Right.
you can see the bat wiggling their hands like so hard on most hits. When you see it, those ones where they just actually nut it, where they probably don't even feel the ball hit the bat, it like doesn't move at all. So, but this was, I mean, Pence's upper hand, his top hand must have been feeling it after this one. Hits the bat, basically wobbles the front of the bat forward, breaks it, and as it wobbles forward and he's still swinging through, hits the bat again, and then goes up to the tip. And I think here's really where the spin got put on it.
Yeah, I think so. It was
When
the
it
last
glanced off that
contact.
tip, when it glanced off the tip of the bat, that's when it
you
headed
could
out.
see it spin up in the slow mo.
Yeah, basically put slice spin on it. I mean, basically
Yeah,
that's
it
what
was
happened.
really interesting to watch because it absolutely slashed away from Cosma in a way that nobody saw coming.
No, and most of the time, if you hit a line drive and you pull it, you will get a little bit of hook to it, basically.
And that's exactly where Cosmo was going.
Yeah, he assumed
Right.
the hook. He assumed like everybody else did that the ball would happen.
I don't think there's one person in that park, Hunter Pence included, who was like, "Oh, that ball's going to cut back to the other direction."
Yeah, no way.
Exactly. And he
When
said,
does that ever happen?
He said that he thought he was inside the ball and he thought that he had gotten it, and he didn't feel like it was a weird hit. He said, he felt like it was normal, but
Makes sense.
I mean, it didn't sound that weird either when you listen to it. If you listen to
No,
the
you
sound it
just
made.
heard the bat breaking. It sounded
Yeah,
perfect.
that's
There was
really-
like clack clack clack.
Yeah, that was the prominent noise. So, it was just one of those things where you just, when that happened, you felt like you kind of felt it a little bit, right? Like you kind of went, "Oh wow, this really is going to happen. We're really going to do that." I mean, obviously we scored 3 runs on the play too, which helps you feel that way. But just when those weird things happen, when that one break goes your way, it really makes you feel like this is our game now.
This is the whole like blessed by the baseball gods moment.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of people really express that on Twitter too. They're kind of like, nope, team of destiny. That's it.
It's the BABIP factor. You know what I mean? Like you put the ball in play, and
Things happen.
Things happen. Either they're
Not
good
even
things or they're
necessarily
bad
good
things.
Just things happen.
Like a ground ball through the hole or a double play. You know what I mean? Like that's the stuff that.
Or a double play through the hole, which is kind of what that was almost like.
It was very strange. So Ben, what was your plans during the 5, 6, and 7? Where'd you go? Where'd you watch? What was your story?
Game 5.
Were you
might
going
have been
somewhere different every day?
I was somewhere different every day. 5, I think I might have been at home. 6, I was at the park, which was
Oh, beautiful.
pretty incredible. I was at standing room only. I picked a stupid spot. I stood in the arcade. Don't ever stand in the arcade if you're standing room only, because if everybody in front of you stands up, you will not see
You
anything.
missed the play, and then people stand.
What
up
you
a
do is
lot
literally
in the
stand
playoff
up
game.
during 2 strikes, and so you sit there waiting to see if the crowd cheers or not to find out whether somebody's out.
If you have an SRO, my advice is go really early and try to kick it on that trolley. Like
Trolley's
go
a good
super
spot.
early and get,
Coors Light Pavilion's a good
on there.
spot.
Yeah.
Actually, in the corner, the left field corner near the Ghirardelli sign is a great spot.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've said that, everybody's going to go there, and it's going to suck.
Well, we only get like
party out there.
200 listeners, so I don't think it'll be a problem.
This is true, and a lot of
Although
us.
they probably all go to Giants games, so
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, we've got great listeners. So,
that's true. That's true. Best listeners. in baseball.
Game 7, I actually was at work. I was gonna turn the game on my computer in the break room so that everybody could watch it, and instead, I called home. My brother was there, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'm just watching the game. Mom's in Berkeley watching the debate." Which, as it turned out, she was watching the debate and the game, and she was so excited because they had 2 TVs. She was really excited.
She got to see Barack Obama say his horses and.
Got to
Muskets
watch
or
Barack
whatever.
Obama make zingers, and also got to watch the Giants hit a lot of zingers, or whatever it is that Hunter Pence hit. So I left, ran to the bus, ran back up to the Richmond district where I'm from, and I went to go watch the game with my brother.
Cool. That's a good way to do it. Chad, you were in where again?
So yeah, game 5, I was in Tahoe.
Tahoe.
And yeah, that was fantastic watching it at the bar with fellow Giants fans. I won a few bets for drinks. They didn't realize how much I knew about the Giants, which was nice. So definitely
People were
Can we ask
challenging.
what kind of bets you won?
kept my sobriety at bay with those bets.
People were challenging your Giants knowledge.
Yes, they
I'm
were.
actually really
All right.
curious how this worked now.
How do I get people to do this at a bar and buy me drinks?
And the funny
what-
thing is, I wasn't the one making the bets. It was other people where they would make a statement and then I would contradict it, go, no, actually, that wasn't that. It was this. And they're like, no, it was this. No, it wasn't.
And then they're
You know,
like,
for
bet you a
example,
drink. And all of a sudden they're like, ah, crap.
Yeah, exactly. So the first one, it's really good the Giants won in 6 games in 2010. I was like, yeah, no, it was really cool that they won, but it was actually in
was in
5.
5 games.
Yes.
And then no, it was in 6. And I'm like, okay, this is
the
like,
NLCS
you
was
should
in
know
6,
This,
but I
this
mean-
isn't even a hard question. No, 1 in 5. All right, look, I know they won in 6. I'll bet you a beer. I'm like, do you really want? I mean, I know I won this bet. You really want to buy me a drink? Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
the bets when you know you won already. Those are the best. Those are
the best. The ones that you're like, not like I'm sure, I'm kind of sure. No, it's like, oh, you want to buy me a beer?
Yeah,
Go
you
ahead.
just want to buy me beers. Okay, cool.
No problem at all. So it was 2 or 3 bets like that. But and then 6 and 7, I actually was at home. So again, it was, not the most enjoyable place to watch because I'm kind of trying to deal with the kids, pausing the game, DVR, dealing with baths and dinners and then trying to catch up. But last night, game 7, I made sure I watched it live, basically. I did not want to pause it. I wanted to keep that, going. And actually, I had synced it up with the KNBR broadcast on MLB at
Then
that.
you can't pause it
that was
because
kinda
you're like, ah, crap.
Yeah, you can't pause it when you have
Once
that.
you get
'cause
that sweet
gotta
spot,
sync
you
it.
pause it, you're in
No,
so much
yeah,
trouble.
you lose it and you can't get it back. So that's the
too
way
hard.
to go. Well,
I imagine Trish would have wanted to see it live anyway, too. So,
yeah.
No, she watched it with me.
good.
We were dealing with the kids, sort of, but we didn't want to let it go. So
Yeah,
but it was all good.
It's okay. Soon enough, they're going to be old enough to watch their own World Series. And
I was at Zeke's every single night.
Yeah, no, you got to keep that going.
Yeah,
Well,
well, here's the
I
thing. I'm thinking right now that it's really only in elimination games where I must go there. I just
Well,
so basically all of the games.
well, the thing is
The only
that
kind we play, man.
I didn't go to Zeke's for the game we won, game 2. And we still pulled that one out. But if we get down to the point where we're in elimination games, I will go there. And the other thing is, I don't know if my liver can handle this. I don't know
This
if I
is
can
fair.
continue, or my pocketbook, to be quite honest. Zeke's is not a cheap place to drink. And what happens when you're there with a ton the place it's a fantastic place to watch the game.
yeah, no, I've watched a few games there. It's a nice
Yeah,
place.
it's they got tons of TVs, tons of, it's right by the ballpark, so tons of people are into the game around there, full of Giants fans. Last night, it was like 4 deep behind me. We actually got a seat at the bar, luckily. And,
Oh, wow.
And then what happened is, of course, like, since we're at the bar and everyone behind us is, we ended up meeting a lot of people just because we were helping them get their drinks. We were like, oh yeah, come on over here. So we ended up like talking to a lot of people last night. It was
like
pretty
in the
fun.
ballpark, passing peanuts down the road.
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly. So what ended up happening, though, being there every single night, was that, we got into the routine. I wore the same shirt every single day. Went there, got my seat at the bar, ordered a sloppy Joe. We won game 5. I come back, I'm like, all right, sloppy Joe. And also, I ordered sloppy Joe the day we won game 3, and I went. But then I got sick, and I stayed home and watched those 2 games. But so it is now at this point, it's like the magical sloppy Joe. Rally sloppy Joe cannot lose right now. So
It's like rally enchilada.
yeah,
So it's a rally Messi enchilada.
Vogelsong has his thing. I got my thing, and I'll just keep the things going, right? And okay, speaking of keeping things going, let's move on. I'm watching right now. Sportsnet Central is about to start the Chronicle Live, which I should probably record this. I really want to see this. But they were just showing Verlander, the untouchable. Well, we've heard this before in San Francisco. The mythical beast that is Justin Verlander, who apparently is amazing at everything he does. He doesn't throw baseballs; he throws like golf balls, or something. Because it's impossible to hit him. Is basically what I'm saying.
They even put
this
little
is what-
flames for the graphics.
That's right, yeah.
on his pitch speed on TV, just to make
make
that
it
he's
look
throwing
cooler,
it
yeah.
very hard.
And then they put on racing stripes and
This is the story we've been getting told now ever since the Tigers swept the Yankees. This is the story we've been getting told. there's some truth to this story, but I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, we heard the same thing about Cliff Lee.
Sure. Doc Holliday too.
Yeah.
And Holiday.
Yeah, exactly. We heard like these guys are untouchable. Cannot beat these guys. It's not going to happen. Consider yourself down 0-2 already. And potentially he could go 1-4-7. I mean,
I think
Verlander has
to go 1-4-7.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what they're lining him up to do. So
even with the and I mean, normally that'd be you'd expect him to go 1-4-7, but with the new playoff structure, because of the wild card and everything's compressed, normal rest would be 1-5.
Yeah. Which
but
normal 4-day
season,
rest. Yeah, playoff rest. But this would be this would be really short rest, and to do it 3 times, and if he goes deep in the first game,
which he's
I don't know
absolutely
if that's
capable of.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really the plan they're going to stick with.
Verlander is like a harder throwing Matt Cain in a way. He's a horse. Will go really deep into games on a regular basis. He's generally ranks towards the top of the majors in complete games. Him and it's kind of like Roy Halladay will do. He can pitch really deep into games, but he has not. He's not completely infallible in the sense that he's had a lot of times during the regular season where he'll start giving up a few runs. He'll give up a gopher ball or 1 or 2. He's not frequently homer prone, but he will have moments of vulnerability. And to be fair, he has got a defense behind him that makes the Cardinals look like they're all Willie McCovey. So, in fairness, there is a really it's not a great defense. It's a defense that can man up and make the big play. Miguel Cabrera is a little like Pablo Sandoval at third, only with more errors, but he has definitely had some good moments. But the fact remains, like Verlander is really solid, and with a guy like Verlander on the mound, you do not need a ton of defense because he's not going to let a lot of balls out of the infield or, quite frankly, off of the bat. So it just depends on who shows up. And with Verlander during the postseason, it is more likely that good Verlander is going to show up. So the question is whether or not how much he keeps it around the strike zone and whether or not the Giants try to chase and whether that works in their favor, because we have seen them do well against better pitchers before that stake around the strike zone instead of throwing garbage balls at the loose.
I think the Giants are aggressive hitters, and when pitchers throw around the strike zone, they tend to hit the ball, And
it's a question of whether they take advantage of that or whether Verlander takes advantage of their tendencies. And we saw Wainwright, who's got a really sharp curveball, take advantage of it in a lot of ways. Verlander, his biggest thing is his, fastball that gets faster as the game goes on. He'll start at around 95 and he'll start pushing 98.
99.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, here's the thing. Verlander,
it's amazing to watch either way.
Verlander lost 17 games in 2008. Okay. Verlander lost 8 games this year. He's beatable. I don't like when people talk about it like it's a done deal. Whenever he goes to the mound.
No, last year was really his strong year. He hasn't.
Look what the Giants did to him in the All-Star game.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. I mean, Pablo hit a triple off of him, and that was Let's also real quick just look at the beauty of the fact that the Giants basically won the All-Star game to then give themselves home field advantage.
Yeah, I think that's the first time that's ever happened since this wild card thing.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, Melky, you earned your ring, buddy. If we win this World Series and we win it like in Game 6, which
all
I
is
think
not forgiven, but you can have a ring.
No, you earned your ring with your MVP performance.
Cool.
So getting his player share anyway.
I mean, a lot of the wins did come from him, so
Chad, what's your take on the Verlander versus the Giants thing? Are you of the mindset that we got this, we can do this, it's going to be tough? What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's really funny. I'm usually the epitome of pessimism, but going into Game 7 last night, I actually, don't get me wrong, I was still nervous, but I actually was like, Jesus Christ, I can't see how we can't lose this or can't win this game. There's just no way. Yeah. I mean, we just had all the momentum in the world, the fans behind, the total domination, Kane going. It just seemed like it was written in the books. Obviously, the Giants have won 5 NLCSs in a row. They haven't had the same luck in the World Series. Verlander is at the top of his game right now. So I'm not going to be surprised if the Tigers win. But I think if you asked me before Zito's start that he had in Game 5, I would be like 95% chance the Tigers are going to win this game. But after his performance in St. Louis, I would still give the nod to the Tigers for Game 1, but not by that same ratio.
Yeah,
especially if the Giants jump on them early.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you for sure. I think statistically the Tigers have a better chance of taking this first game, And
I think the Giants have the advantage, but I don't now think it's a lock like
No.
I did, like I would have told you before.
I don't think it's ever any baseball game ever being played by two major league teams is ever a lock. But the fact is, the Giants.
Hey, the
Giants
Orioles
have
got beat
proven-
by a community college team this year. You never know.
The Giants have proven that they don't really care what your better inside baseball foresight might be. They don't really give a crap.
Let me break it down for you, though. Here's the thing. They're 6-0 in elimination games, 1-5 otherwise.
Sure.
So clearly that must mean they're
We won
gonna lose
one.
this game.
We got one.
We
And that
did
was
get
one
that
of the
one.
later ones. So come on.
Yeah, they won the game 2 of the NLCS. The other negative thing going for them, because clearly we all totally believe that each and every one of us has an effect on the game, right? Just like you going to Zeke's.
Yeah,
and
no, my
having
rally
Sloppy Joe.
Sloppy Joe's is
Yeah, of course.
pivotal.
I mean,
Yeah.
clearly that's
Right.
going to affect the game. I've been to 4 Giants playoff games, and I've lost all 4.
Oh, this year
So-
too, right?
And guess what?
And wait, you went to A's playoff
went-
games that they lost to, right?
No, I went to the one that they won.
Okay.
So apparently I'm good for the A's.
All right.
So I went to the
Season
2000
5, so
NLDS Game 5 against the Mets, where JT Snow hit that game-tying home run. Thought everything was turning around, and then they lost the
And then
10th,
lost
and
the game,
Benitez
yeah.
closed it for the Mets. I went to Game 3 of the 0-2 World Series, where they lost 10-4, and then 2 games this year, Game 1 of both the NLDS and the NLCS. Of course, you and I went to the NLCS Game 1.
Game 1, yeah.
That bum pitched. And so I'm 0-4. And unfortunately for Giants fans out there, I do apologize. I am going tomorrow night.
Oh my God!
So
Why would you
just-
do this, Chad?
that just might be the nail in the
you
coffin.
know, if you're gonna go to the game that Verlander's pitching, because
Sure.
we're not sure how to do that one anyway.
Because then it won't be
Nobody's
that
gonna
fault.
fault you if
That's
Verlander
my
pitches well.
philosophy. People have already been.
Now the next
messaging
game,
me
if
on-
it's like Bumgarner versus Doug Fister, this is a little more debatable. People
do you know
might
how many
give you a
messages
little
on
more
Facebook
share.
I got saying, "Do not come within 90 miles of AT&T Park in Game 7." And I was like, no, I'm good. And of
Yeah.
course they won. Thank you, Chad, for not coming. Now that I've posted out there, I'm going to Game 1. People are, no, what the hell are you doing?
You're gonna put us in a
But-
hole again, Chad.
It's like, it's Verlander versus Zito. If they lose, it's not because of me.
I might have to go get my Rally Sloppy Joe's, just try to counteract this.
You got to counteract my negative
your black magic.
appearance there. But hey, when you get a chance to go see the World Series,
No, you don't miss that. Yeah, you don't miss that.
I
Right
gotta
now,
say this: we're doing really bad when I wear my orange Lincecum jersey, but I switched over to my gray Aubrey Huff World Series 2010 jersey.
Nice.
We've been doing pretty good since then. So
there you go. So keep
Huff
that
jersey
going.
He's got to contribute somehow.
All right, I'm going to move on to this next question, and I'll start us off on this now. Bumgarner has already been given Game 2. We saw Game 1 of the NLCS where Bumgarner looked pretty bad. Gave up six runs. I think all of them earned, right? I don't think any
all of them earned.
Yeah,
Yep.
and just did not look good. Did not have his stuff going. It's been a while since he's pitched now, though. This is going to be a long layoff, and if the arm was the problem, potentially that could be solved a little bit with just a little bit of rest and downtime. Apparently, he had a good side the other day when he threw on normal throw days, and felt like his stuff was a little crisper. He'd fixed an arm slot issue, I guess, was what Righetti said. So if he comes out in Game 2 and the Giants are down 0-1, are we going to start the Rally Bumgarner thing already? I mean, it might be a little early to start this if we don't get to elimination games, but
Rally
we're
Bum.
down 0-1 already, and we got Bumgarner coming out who has not looked good in either of his starts in the postseason. How are we going to feel? I mean, Ben, do you think this layoff is going to do him good?
I mean, I think it has to, only in the sense that he was definitely looking really gassed, and he really hasn't had a lot of time off because, we've been going game to game, like tightrope to tightrope. But, he hasn't had a lot of time off. I mean, it's still been really tense. So I don't know that he's really had a mental break per se, but his arms had a physical break. And part of it is just that he just has looked gassed. And when you look gassed, it's harder to make corrections. You can't really sit on top of yourself and say, okay, arm slot needs to be here. Fingers need to do this. Got to watch how I line my hips up, because you're busy going, oh dear God, what happens now? Oh dear. So I mean, when you're,
I don't think
so
Bumgarner's saying that, Ben. I'm sorry. I don't think Bumgarner's ever said.
No, he's probably just blowing it.
Wow.
No, well, I'm sure he said, "Oh dear God," but it's a little different. He's probably blowing snot rockets. But when you're freaking out and when you're starting to worry a little bit, it's so much harder when that creeps in to really like make those adjustments. We've all had that happen, not on as big of a stage, not under as dire circumstances. But we've all had those moments when you start.
It totally happened to me when I pitched game one in the NLCS. I was gassed and couldn't pull it together. No, I mean, I do agree that I think, him being tired means he can't correct his issues. And so whether or not he's been freaking out on the bench watching these games, I think mentally, I mean, look at Brian Wilson. Brian Wilson looks like the most relaxed dude in the world right now because he doesn't have to play. And Bumgarner hasn't had to play for a very long time. And I feel like, he's probably down on himself a little bit because of the start he made, but his team picked him up. And when your team picks you up, you feel good about things. It's like when you make that out with runner on third and one out, and then the next guy hits a double, and just brings that run in anyway. It's like suddenly I'm golden. Doesn't matter. You're off the hook. So, and I think, throughout the season, we've seen it. When the Giants starting pitchers start doing well, it seems like all of them start doing well all at the same time. So hopefully what happens is the momentum shifts in this scenario. And now they're all starting to like basically compete with each other, try to one up each other.
I'm hoping that the air in the clubhouse changes a little bit just because they've always had, they used to have that history where it's like one guy does real good, the next guy wants to come out and do real good, the next guy wants to come out and do real good, the next guy's Barry Zito, the next guy wants to come out and do real good. And so, I'd like to see them get that back a little bit because the whole starting rotation has been starting to struggle a little bit, except the last few games they've all really snapped it up. Yeah. And so I think the Zito start is going to set the tone a little bit, but I do think that the three we have coming up, Bumgarner, Vogelsong, and Kane, I mean, these are all going to be classics. I think you've got Verlander versus Zito, which after Zito start in game 5, this has become an instant classic. Whereas before you would have been like, well, okay, so that's Justin Verlander. Doug Fister versus Madison Bumgarner, two young, very talented guys. Going to be good. Anibal Sanchez versus Ryan Vogelsong, two guys who are getting a little bit older, right? And they've both been
that was 1-0 actually. So the last time those two guys met.
Yeah, so. And Matt Cain versus Max Scherzer, two young guys that have a ton of potential. I mean, these are going to be really good pitching matchups, and I'm really hoping all of them live up to it. Obviously, I'm hoping we win them all, but I'm really hoping that they all kind of live up to what they're billed as opposed to kind of. I mean, we've seen those World Series games where everything just kind of falls apart. Mm-hmm. But these all on paper, these look like really solid matchups. I'm pretty excited.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think the pitching is going to be incredibly good this whole World Series. The one thing that we need to do as the Giants is get to the bullpen, because that is the glaring weak spot on this Detroit Tigers team. And,
I mean, Phil Koch is really solid. Drew Smyly is really solid. But beyond that, Benoit, Valverde, Albuquerque.
But that's why we need to get to it early.
Can go either way.
Absolutely. We need the late inning guys. Okay, pretty much every Major League Baseball team has a couple of guys who are good in the late innings, Right. What you got to do is you got to get to the guys in like the 6th inning, the 5th inning.
Yeah, knock out the starters early to get the long relief guys in.
Exactly, and then you can pile on. So take pitches. I know it's hard for you guys, but take some pitches. We do have a few guys who do that, though. I mean, honestly, this lineup is not the way it used to be. When you got Blanco, you got Belt, you got Scudero, you got guys who actually do. Posey.
Oh. Sorry, guys, I'm going to have to take off here.
No worries, man. So,
no problem, man.
Want to give us some parting thoughts before you go? Do you have any last words?
Yeah, I'm really excited. This Tigers offense has been pretty substantial. It's really going to be up to us to see how we shut them down. Our lefties are going to have the advantages there, assuming that Bumgarner pitches like himself. He's going to have a real strong shot at holding back Cabrera and Fielder. But they've got an interesting offense that can suddenly spark up and down the lineup. Delman Young found a hot streak at just the right time because usually he's pretty painful to watch. So it's going to be real interesting.
A baseball player to me.
He does not. He looks like a softball player.
No,
yeah, totally.
It's true. Neither does Jose Pinard, though, and he's got it going. So
he's got that Dave Parker, Dave Henderson, Dave Winfield, all those old school Daves.
I'm excited. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to say is, I am officially past the point where I'm going to be like depressed and in my beer if we lose the World Series, because what has happened so far is so ridiculous and frankly so inspiring that getting to the World Series was kind of like the final goal, and now it's just gravy. Like I can't.
Now it's just enjoy it. Right?
I can't even be upset because we're here.
If they did the playoffs again, the way they've made it, there's no way they should be there again.
Yeah.
Unless we get like blown out in all 4 games, I'm not going to be disappointed with this World Series.
All right. Well, real quick before you go, Giants or Tigers, and how many games?
Gut wants to say Giants in 7 because that's how we've done it. Brain says Tigers in 6.
Okay. All right. Well, me and Chad will continue on because we got a lot more to talk about. A ton of stuff to do. So go have fun. Say what's up to Pascal and everybody.
See you, Ben.
And we'll talk to you later on.
I will listen into the rest later.
All right, man.
Bye.
Okay, so Chad, we've heard Ben's take on the series coming up. Before we do ours, let's do a couple more things here. A couple more pieces of business. Armchair manager time. Lincecum back to the pin. Right move? Wrong move. What do you think?
That's a tough call because Bochy put a little bit of stock into him, letting him have that one start in St. Louis, and he didn't fare well. So from a manager's perspective, you got to say, hey, look, you got 8 1/3 innings from the pen, only giving up 1 run and like 4 hits. You start, you give up 4 runs in 4 innings. You're a little bit more valuable coming out of the pen right now. Bumgarner obviously didn't, do well as a starter either, but he hasn't come out in relief. So I think he's just lining it up with not only having Bum have an extra start off, but also the fact that the Tigers don't hit well versus left-handers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's the way he's stacking it up. I think he's figuring, you know what, statistically, they do worse against left-handers. He has a break. Lincecum is proven out of the pen. Hopefully Bum will shake off his rust. If he had a good side session with his arm slot in the right position.
And if Bumgarner comes out and he doesn't look good, you go right to Lincecum.
Then you go right to Lincecum.
Yeah,
so he's the backup plan. Instead of starting Lincecum, Bum will have a short leash.
I honestly feel like
that's the way to go.
Lincecum coming out of the pen is going to get at least 6 to 7 innings in this World Series.
I think so too. I think there's no doubt.
I think he's going to, at some point, he's going to be called on, and we're going to need him. So I honestly think Bochy he's been the magical man as a manager. He keeps making the right calls. Even when he makes the wrong call, there's reasoning behind it. I mean, giving Lincecum the start, we all thought, hey, he deserves it. I don't think anybody questioned that decision.
No, I think everybody agreed with that.
Yeah.
With his flash with coming out of the pen, and it didn't work out. So he's going back to what worked. It's just strange to see the Giants' rotation not be able to be set up with their normal 1, 2, 3, 4 after the NLDS, because he had Kane go in Game 5 against the Reds, so he couldn't start the NLCS.
Exactly.
But that gave him the opportunity to pitch Game 7, which was crucial in the NLCS. And just like this, the NL or in the World Series, Kane is going Game 4. He can't even start the damn thing. Zito is. I mean, who thought, honestly, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, if you told me that Barry freaking Zito would be your game one starter of the World Series, I'd be like, you're smoking crack. There's just no possible way that's going to happen, because even if the Giants get to that point, how in the world would they actually give the ball to Barry Zito?
Well, I would love to hear the person who said that they called at the beginning of the year Marco Scudero being the NLCS MVP as well. I mean,
being with the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, look, I know this is going to sound crazy, but you guys, Marco Scudero will be on your team, and not only that, he'll hit 500 in the NLCS, and he will win the MVP of that series. I'd be like, dude, what?
You look at our series preview or season preview, and I'm going to do this after the World Series.
I'm going to definitely,
and I'm going to listen, because I've already partially listened to it a couple of weeks ago. Our season preview with the Giants pod guys. And there's some funny shit in there.
Our predictions for the season.
We were so far off about not only who's going to be our middle infielders halfway through the season. This is when we're talking about Fontenot and Terrio. They're not even in the middle of the infield.
Nope.
I mean, we got Scudero, who's NLCS MVP, and Crawford, who's stuck there the whole year. We got Brandon Belt, who was, not even sure he was going to be playing this year. Aubrey Huff is essentially off the team.
Well, he should be, honestly, at this point. He hasn't contributed.
Pablo with the hand injury, and then the leg injury. You got, Pence, the acquisition in the middle of the year. You have Buster Posey, who no one thought would catch, 80 games, let alone 103 games, I believe he caught in the regular season. played another 30-something at first base, and now he's caught almost every game in the postseason, and he scored from first base on a double by Pence last night.
It took a little help from John Jay, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, it took a little help from John Jay. But still, the point is that it's amazing how different the season can go from what you think it's going to.
No, absolutely.
That's right. It's the game of baseball.
The Giants every year kind of prove that, I think. And, 2010, obviously, nobody called that.
2010 was the year of torture, and now was for the regular season. That's where the
regular season was torture, yeah. The playoffs were not. Here we decided to reverse the trend. We decided to go ahead and run away with the West.
Was not torture in the sense that we clinched it with 2 weeks to go.
Yeah.
But the playoffs are nothing but torture.
Exactly. It's unbelievable.
At the most, we could have had 7 elimination games right now if the Giants went down 3-0 in the NLCS. We got 6.
Yeah.
So they pretty much have been playing with their backs against the wall.
And playing literally out of their minds at any time that seems to happen. I mean, it's unbelievable what's happened. To beat a team in 3 straight games is one thing.
Like a cornered bear or something.
Yeah, but to destroy them and score 20 runs and have them score one in that span is, that's 27 innings, 20-1 at the end of a 27-inning baseball game. You know what I mean? That's like ridiculous. So anyway, it's been unbelievable. I think, honestly, Bruce Bochy's going to make all the right calls again. He just seems to have that knack. So,
he seems to pull the right strings.
Armchair manager for me, honestly, my armchair manager, only questionable thing that happened in this series was leaving Carpenter in for the Cardinals and having him taken at bat. That was ridiculous. I couldn't even believe that. Yeah.
They were only down 4-0 at the time, and that was in the 3rd or 4th inning.
Yeah, but he looked bad. He was getting lit up, and he was getting lit up early, and it's the playoffs, and it's game 6, and you lose that game. Now you're facing game 7, and look how that turned out, And in
a way, it was sending a white flag to the Giants.
It was almost saying, we'll see you tomorrow. You know what I mean?
We know we're going to lose this game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my starter in there, let him get beat up. I don't care how many runs he gives up. I just want to save all my bullets in my bullpen for tomorrow because I know we're going tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's
that's really what it felt like.
4th inning.
Yeah. We were all sitting around saying, is he really managing for tomorrow right now? Is that really what he's doing? Because
that didn't make any sense.
I think that's honestly that's Mike Matheny's inexperience as a manager showing right there.
And you wonder if I don't know because I'm not a player on the Cardinals, but I just wonder if just a few of the players. Obviously losing 2 in a row and going to a game 7 is going to hurt your confidence, and the momentum definitely swung in the Giants' favor. But when you see your manager doing that, and all the Giants fans are thinking that, and all the national media and local media is thinking that, of course the Cardinals players are thinking that.
Yeah.
They got to be. They got to be like going.
No, they know
just
as well
giving
as
up
we
and
do.
out here.
Yeah,
you're not trying to score runs. What are you doing?
Exactly. It's just one of those moves where you just shake your head and then you go, "Thank you that the other guy's doing that, not my guy."
We'll take it.
Yeah. So all right, tweet at me, brah. You got a pretty good one here, and I actually really like Hank Schulman. You know what's funny is during this playoff run, it's like everybody's trying to be Mr. Inside Baseball.
Yeah.
We've got literally, I know who the starting pitchers are 5 times in a second looking at my Twitter account. You got Baggerly tweeting it, then Schulman tweets it, then, you know what I mean? Then Amy G tweets it. It's like,
unbelievable. You get retweets of retweets. Yeah, exactly.
But
you get the lineup. You know what's going on.
Yeah, but this is a pretty good one from Hank Schulman, so go ahead and hit us with that one.
Yeah, so he just tweeted this out less than an hour ago, and this is the night before the World Series. He says, seriously, folks, who still insist that the Giants should add Melky now need to study his departure and what the team has done since, or just stop talking. And it's true. I've been on blogs, like you said, SF Gate, some of these other fan sites, and there are still a portion, I'd say a minority, of course, of Giants fans that are saying, oh, look at the Giants offense. They need to bolster left field. Look at Gregor Blanco. They need to get Melky in there. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no.
They had a better record without Melky after he went down. They've gotten to this point to get to the World Series. Gregor Blanco is hitting over 300 in the playoffs. He's been playing impeccable defense. Well, he made that one error last night, but it was harmless. Why are these people even clamoring for Melky Cabrera when he hasn't even playing baseball for 3 months or 2 months?
Suddenly he's going to come in and face Verlander. Like, no, that's
in the World
ridiculous.
Series and go and hit 600.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, this is the group that has done the magic. This is the group that pulled all of this off. Don't mess with that. Don't change any of that. Don't even let, like, honestly, like, I would like to see Pagaro become the 25th guy and take Huff and shelve him because he's not really bringing quality at bats.
Nah, he's not really doing anything.
And
right
then we
now.
have a pinch runner in the situation that we need one.
Yeah.
But I almost say, like, no, just send the same 25 guys out there because that's worked twice now, And when you start messing with magic, who knows what's going to happen? So, it's at this point, guys, just forget Melky, okay? Just enjoy this. Watch this team. This is the team you're going to get.
Yeah, I don't care if the Giants get swept 4-0 and the Giants hit 100 in the series. I still will not be behind those people who say, "Oh, see, if we had Melky, it would have made a difference."
Exactly.
No, I'm sorry.
No, it wouldn't.
This is absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand what these people. This whole team has been built around chemistry in the playoffs. It's been proven with their backs against the wall. The pregame speeches, the rally cries, the fans behind them, and the players saying it's the best fans they've ever played for in the loudest stadium they've ever heard. This is chemistry. This is something that's intangible. This is something you can't quantify on paper with sabermetrics.
Yeah.
And throwing Melky into the mix, I'm sorry, it's that's not going to help at all.
No, it really won't.
Hell, let them get down 3-1 and see what they can do. I don't care. Just don't bring in Melky. It doesn't make any sense.
I think honestly, at this point, we can just say this is the team you're going to get. Let's all go out there and enjoy it. And I think the Giants fans are doing that. At this point, it's the lunatic fringe of the lunatic fringe who are saying stuff like, "Bring back Melky." I think. I mean, these people are going. This is a very vocal minority, though, and they're always
it's a very vocal minority. Yeah. Exactly.
All right, so let's talk about our new favorite guys. Chad, why don't you go ahead and start us off? I mean, these are pretty obvious choices, but
Pretty obvious. You know, I was definitely flip flopping between Scudero and Zito, and I went with Zito because it really was the pivotal point in the NLCS. I mean, they're down 3-1. It completely turned the tide. It shut the Cardinals up. They had all of the Redbird fans in the stands, a couple of them with brooms because they thought they were going to get the sweep at home. They had the plastic folded up, ready to go. The champagne was on ice. They got to prep all that stuff. All of those things were ready to go. And it was just incredible to see a pitcher that everybody, and I don't mean everybody, let's just say a majority of people thought, yeah, this is probably going to go in the Cardinals' favor. And Zito said, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm sick of being the doormat. I have a big contract. I haven't lived up to it, whatever it is. I'm going to have a big moment. I was left off the 2010 roster. I'm going to do what I can to contribute to this team. And because he didn't have a good start in Cincinnati, of course, the Giants ended up winning that game. But I don't know what switch turned on in his mind, but he had 0 unintentional walks. And he
only had that one intentional walk, which totally worked out. Yeah. Which totally worked out. So
completely lights out, mixing speeds, mixing location, hitting his target. And by the way, he was throwing to Buster Posey. We didn't talk about that. He didn't even have his personal catcher, Hector Sanchez. And by the way, I was watching. Obviously, we were all watching the game. He was shaking Posey off like a mother, but it was fine because we've talked about this before a couple episodes ago. Is that, if Posey calls for something and he doesn't like it, shake it off. Mm-hmm. Shake it off. Go with what he wants. And that's what he was doing. And that's what worked. I think that was key because on one hand, I think a lot of people say, oh, they're not in sync. Well, maybe they weren't in sync, but Zito still has control over what pitch he wants to throw.
Exactly.
And all he has to do is say no until he gets the pitch he wants. And Posey's fine with that.
No, Posey will continue putting fingers down until he says, let's go.
Okay,
yeah,
2,
absolutely.
2 inside, 3 outside. Okay, fine, let's do that.
Because you're the guy on the mound who has to deliver the pitch, ultimately. I mean, the catcher is part of it, and the catcher's got a plan, but you're the one who has to believe in that pitch, actually
Posey's
throw
like
the
the
thing.
Coming up to you going, well, I suggest tonight the specialty foie gras.
You say, shove your surf and turf up your ass. I'm going to,
have this, yeah.
So
that was just pivotal. I mean, completely turned the series around, had the momentum going back to San Francisco, even though they were still down by 2 games or one game. They had 2 in a row.
Everybody suddenly felt like that was the major bullet to dodge, and we dodged it.
Yeah, out of the 3 games, that was the toughest one.
Yeah, and we all said it too. We were like, rally Zito, because once we get Zito, if we can win that game, now you've got Vogelsong and Kane and games 6 and 7 at home, and you have to feel good. So it was really that game in St. Louis that was going to be, this was the do or die moment of all the do or die moments we've had. And that really was it. And I was more nervous about that game than any other game I've watched. Game 6 and 7 were kind of like celebrations. I mean, 7 especially. Game 7 was just like we were just partying because we got up early. We stayed up. We never looked back. It was just a party. And Game 5 was, I was a stress ball. And even when we were up big, I was a stress ball. You know what I mean? And it was unbelievable. Everything that happened in that game, like just from Zito bunting for an RBI hit.
Yeah.
Friggin' getting narrowly out of weird jams, everything that happened in that game was
5-0 felt like 1-0. It really did.
Yeah, it really did.
Worked out.
All right, so that's a good pick. I'm going to real quick before I do mine. I'm going to preempt, or I'm just going to assume that that Ben would have taken Vogelsong because Ben loves Vogelsong.
He is a Vogel came up backer.
Big. If there's any other guy besides Scudero who might win the MVP, it would have been Vogelsong. He won 2 games. He gave 1 run, I believe, in each game, right? Just one.
Just 1 run.
Yeah.
And all 3 of his starts.
We had to win 4, and that guy won 2 of them for us. So, you can't really look down on that accomplishment. When you win half the games that your team needs to win that series, you did your job. And Vogelsong was absolutely incredible. We were at one point talking about he might be the guy left off the roster,
Yeah, Vogelsong was the most dominant pitcher in actually the playoffs so far, but certainly the LCS.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, Zito had probably the most pivotal game, but the most dominant overall performances combined are no doubt Vogelsong.
Yeah. So, but my guy is going to be Scudero. I was actually just talking to my roommate a second ago, who's not a big Giants fan, or not. I mean, I guess she's a fan, but she's not. She's not into baseball. She always says, "I don't watch hockey." When you ask her if she's seen the baseball game. And so, I came out and she was like, I was watching the game, and I was talking to her about it, and she says, I just really like watching a guy become a local hero right in front of our very eyes, and relishing it too. It's like the guy came over here, and I remember very vividly the day when we traded for him because I was at the baseball game. I'm hanging out with Scott Ryman, who works at KNBR, and he does a lot of the post-game interviews and stuff like that. I'm talking to him for a while, and he looks down at his phone, and he goes, oh, and he holds the phone out to me, and it says, he's got like an app or whatever that's like the trade waiver wire, whatever it is. It's just the trade wire. Like when anything goes down, he gets an alert, right?
Right.
You got to know this stuff right away. And he goes, Giants trade for Marco Scudero. And, we both said, well, that's an interesting pickup. But we didn't think we thought he'll shore up some holes. He'll get us by until, this guy comes back or whatever. And then we can move this guy over here. At that point we were thinking, okay, well, he gets us through until Pablo comes back. And then we move Arias to second or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's really what we were thinking at that point.
Oh yeah. We thought he was just a finger in the dike at the time.
Yeah. It just, shore things up a little bit. And, that has not been the case. I mean, the man came over here and hit 385, I believe, for the rest of his entire stay as a Giant. And not only has he done that, but he's really endeared himself to this team and the fan base just by being unbelievably professional about everything he does in the game of baseball. I mean, he doesn't do anything poorly. It doesn't feel like. And when we were watching that game last night, and he once again had a multi-hit game. And contributed big, made great plays.
Yeah, made some slick plays at second.
And and after obviously the slide, Holiday sliding into him, and him getting a little bit bruised up, and then still coming through in that game, and being completely professional about that, not ever saying a disparaging thing except for a jokingly, "I'll kick his ass if he comes over here" comment, which everyone knew was a joke. But it's just you watch this guy play baseball, and you go, this is a man who loves this game and appreciates what he's doing in it, and is enjoying his first ever World Series appearance at the age of he's about to be 37 on the 30th. So
yeah, can't believe how old he is.
Yeah, no, I mean I think a lot of people who don't really know a lot about the guy think he's much younger because the way he's playing, he does not look like a 36-year-old man.
Not at all. He looks 26.
But and last night when he digs that ball out and then he puts his arms out like
Puts
that.
his arms
it's
up.
like, dude, you were
As he
just,
does a 360.
yeah, like you were just loving life right now, my friend. And then, of course, the beautiful face to the sky,
Arms out.
yeah, drinking it in, literally drinking it in at that moment.
And then he's the one who gets to catch the final out.
Exactly.
Off the bat of Matt Holliday.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm sorry. What poetic justice?
No,
there are baseball gods. We talked about this. This is insane. I mean, not only he was taken out by Holliday. Holliday is the one who made the error on his huge double in Game 2, and then he gets to pop up to Scutaro to end the entire series in the rain.
There's an awesome picture actually of I'm looking at this BuzzFeed page right here where there's this picture of Sergio Romo looking up into the sky at the ball. He's looks like he's floating because he was hopping. He's like doing little
he was
hopping down.
Yeah.
And he's got his mouth open. He's obviously yelling like, "We got this," or whatever the hell he's yelling. Buster Posey is calmly taking off his helmet and looking down because Buster Posey just never gets riled up ever.
He just doesn't get excited.
And then you got Matt Holliday taking off down to the first baseline with his head down, just looking so sad and so down because, I mean, he's been around a while. He probably won't see many more opportunities like this. And he kind of blew it for his team. I mean, the slide, I'm not going to say that he was trying to hurt the guy or anything like that. It wasn't a clean play, really. It was definitely, he slid way over the base. He didn't even slide till he got there, but he was just trying to play good baseball. I don't think he was trying to hurt anybody.
I don't think he was trying to hurt anyone, but he definitely he crossed the line.
No, he's trying to do the right thing for his team. It wasn't a good play. And
and King got to hit him last night, and I still don't believe it was intentional because it was it was an 0-2 pitch.
Well, here's the thing too. It was an 0-2
Why
pitch,
would he do it on 0-2
and
pitch?
We weren't. It wasn't 9-0 at that point. I mean, I think it was like 6-0 or something like that.
Yeah, it was like 5-0.
But the Cardinals are not, and there's still 12 more outs to get at that point. This isn't the time for retaliation. I don't think it was.
No, and 0-2 again. It doesn't make any sense. If it was 1-1 or 2-1,
sure,
or first pitch, I could see it as being a possibility. But why the hell would he get 2 strikes if he was going to hit him anyway? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, he's trying to throw it in on his hands and got away from him.
Hank Schulman agrees, by the way, because there were quite a few national and local people who are like, "Oh, they're getting revenge. Oh, there it is, there it is." And I'm tweeting out going, "I really don't think that was intentional." And Hank Schulman was one of the few media people that that agreed with me, essentially. Basically, he said, "Hey, guys, that was 0-2. I really don't think that was intentional."
Yeah. And the other thing, though, is after Holliday made that slide, Scutaro looked like he got energized, and Holliday looked like he got deflated. I mean,
oh, yeah.
He did not have a good series after that.
No.
He didn't really do anything.
That was pretty amazing what that did to both players.
And he's the 3 hitter in that lineup, and he's out Game 6, doesn't even play, his back stiffens up. And, you look at that lineup, and suddenly that lineup is a lot less scary when you take a guy like Holliday out of it. So, and we got to take advantage of his weak throwing arm in the outfield. I mean, it was not a good series for Holliday in any respect. So, and then he makes the final out. So, all right, Scutaro's mine, Zito's yours. Ben, we know it's Vogelsong. So there you go. These are 3 guys who came up big this series. And we're going to need them to step up again if we're going to take this whole thing home. All right, let's hate on some people. Chad, start us off.
Oh boy.
We should hate this guy. Who should we hate?
All right. So, yeah, I was going to say Lance Berkman, but I'll save that.
Lance Berkman?
No, most of the national media.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's just been talking a lot of smack against the Giants.
You really have, yeah.
No, basically most of the national media, not only the MLB Network, ESPN, Fox, World Series, or the LCS preview shows with like Krasinski and Harold Reynolds and Eric Karros and those guys. Almost every single one of them, they have their, game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4, game 5 predictions, and they do the little headlines or whatever. Almost every single time it was against the Giants. It was like, Kane is not able. Cards don't fold. All those stupid little silly sayings. Not only that, but the national media is saying, the Cardinals got the moxie. They're going to win this series. The Reds, they were the best team in the National League. They're going to sweep this series. And now the Tigers, it's the same thing. They have Verlander and they have a mashing lineup. They're going to take this series in 5 or 6. It's amazing how many times the national media seems to, I wouldn't say rally, but definitely predict against the Giants. And the Giants are just blowing through this adversity like nothing. So actually, I welcome it. I welcome the adversity. I welcome the fact that the Giants in all 3 series, if you take a poll, the national media have been the underdog.
Yeah.
And so
I think that's right where we want to be quite honest. What was funny is that Przinsky was the one guy in Game 7 who picked the Giants. I don't know if you noticed that. Yeah,
he did. He was the one out of the 4 there or 3 that picked the Giants for Game 7.
We're used to this at this point, right? I mean, as Giants fans, nobody picked us in any of the series we played in 2010 either. We won all 3 of those, and nobody's picked us in any of these 3 series. So, hell, why not just win that one too?
I'm trying to understand where this comes from because the Giants won 94 games this year. They weren't a shabby team. The Tigers won 88. The Cardinals won 88. Why are both of those teams favored over the Giants? Why in 2010 did that same thing happen? Okay, granted, it was the Phillies with Lee and Halladay. I could understand that. It's just strange. In all 6 series, the Giants have been the underdog in those 2 years of playoffs. And it blows my mind that it doesn't seem to swing back around the other way and have more than half of the media say, you know what? The Giants kind of proved themselves their last 5 playoff series that they've won all of them. Maybe I'm going to go with the Giants.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe I'm going to buck the trend and pick that Giants team that actually seems. And here's the other thing. I don't know if you've looked at this, but if you look at since the year 2000, when the world ended, I mean, I know everybody remembers that, but if you look at since the year 2000, the Giants have been now in the World Series 3 times. I don't think there's any other teams that have done that. I think the Cardinals might have. Well, Cardinals have 2, right, and 2 wins. But
the Cardinals have been in 7 NLCSs since 2000.
The Cardinals have been in the NLCS all the time.
That's insane.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
I think the Giants, I mean, they're up there as far as, teams being good for a good portion of time.
Hey, this is just crossing the wire here. I don't know if you saw this. This is posted by CSN Bay Area. Mm-hmm. Last night, the Giants accidentally sold Hunter Pence's magical broken bat that he used to hit the triple-double for $400 to a fan at the From the Clubhouse game used merchandise stall behind section 119 just an hour after the game last night.
Really?
Oops.
Accidentally?
$400? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that seems like a fairly cheap. I mean, that's cheaper than standing room only tickets right now to game 1. But all right, so
anyway,
all right, so let me see if I can find a team that's been there more than the Giants. We got 1, 2, 3 times the Giants have been in the World Series. For the Cardinals,
since 02,
I got
that's
2.
In 11 years. Yeah, that's 3 World Series in 11 years.
So I got 2 for the Cardinals. Now, the Yankees were in it 3 times in a row there in 98, 99,
that
2000.
Was 99, 2000, 2001.
No,
right?
no, 98, 99, 2000.
Yeah. 99, 2000, yeah.
Yeah. No, actually, they were in it in 2001. So they were in it 4 times straight, actually.
Yeah, and they lost to the Diamondbacks that 4th time.
That was the year they were supposed to win because,
it would have done 4 in a row if it wasn't for Gonzalez.
9/11 and all that stuff, yeah. So, we got I think, honestly.
Since 2002.
The Giants have been in more than anybody since 2000.
Yeah, Red Sox have been, twice, 04 and 07 with 1. So, 3 times in 11 years. That's
pretty cool.
Sort of phenomenal.
That's pretty cool. That's fun. That's fun stuff for baseball fans. And 2 times in 3 years. That's really fun. So let's keep that going. And we're not the Rangers. All right, so
Rangers are becoming like the Buffalo Bills here.
I'm going to hate on now. Okay, I had a lot of stuff going with the Reds fans when we had the Reds series because I got a lot of followers on Twitter that come from podcasting and stuff like that.
Sure.
Who come from all different cities and towns and root for all sorts of different teams. So, and I'm always talking about the Giants when I'm on the instance. And most of this stuff has really been good natured. It's been fun. So we had a couple of Reds fans who are really, really gracious when they lost.
You just posted that Twitter feed for baseball's best fans.
Oh yeah, Yeah.
And the one at the top is horrible.
Yeah. Are you looking at it right now? Yeah.
Yeah, you can read that one. That's
so. This has been pretty fun. And then I had a couple of Cardinals fans. I'm up now 6,000 WoW gold after the Giants won that.
Oh, that's
series.
right. You were telling me about that. That's fantastic.
So, that's pretty cool. But, and it was, I had some fun stuff going with a couple of those, except for one guy who tweeted at me. And this, if you want to piss me off, is you say stupid stuff like this. After we were down 3-1, he tweeted at me, "You mad, bro." And that's just so stupid. I hate stuff like that. But then he also tweeted at me that he said, "No whining on the instance tomorrow," or whatever. And I said, "What am I, a Dodger fan? I'm not going to whine." And then he said something like, "Yeah, but you'll be just like them watching the World Series from home by tomorrow," or something like that, right? So to that guy was my only one kind of like big bombastic FU tweet after we won, right? Just to that guy. But I mean, I didn't say anything about his mom or anything. I just, I used some expletives and kind of laughed in his face about it. Because you don't talk shit before it's over. You just don't. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, it's okay to kind of needle people a little bit. But when you talk like, "Hey, we got this, we're winning this," you just open yourself up for this. So anyway, after that all happened, and I'm all for the good nature ribbing. I love it. And so a lot of these Cardinals fans have been really, really cool, and we've been having a fun time. Then I discovered a Twitter handle called,
oh my God,
@BestFans St. Louis. Now, if you don't know,
I'm reading through these right now. These are nuggets.
I
These are
really
pure
hoped
gold.
when I first came across that this was fake.
No.
Unfortunately, I don't think so.
It's
Now,
like YouTube comments.
luckily, this person doesn't have a lot of followers. They literally have 7 followers, whoever decided to come up with this thing. But what they're
Actually,
doing...
I'm looking at it right now. It says 2 followers.
Okay, maybe they've gone down since...
Holy
but
moly.
what's happened is they're just retweeting a bunch of stuff from other Cardinals fans, basically.
Yeah.
So they're finding Cardinals fans, and then they're retweeting their tweets. And now the Cardinals fans are the self-proclaimed best fans in baseball. This is and when you self-proclaim something, a lot of times people end up catching on to it. And I've heard people say this on national broadcasts and stuff. Oh, the fans in St. Louis are the most knowledgeable in the game, all this stuff like that. Which, I don't think any team can really just generalize about their fans being either amazing or bad or good, or bad or whatever. I mean, you can't say, "Oh, all A's fans suck because they never go to games." You know what I mean?
Right.
Or all Giants fans don't care because they're all on their smartphones all game long or whatever. Anything. And we can say the Dodgers fans suck because they come in the 3rd inning and leave in the 7th. We could say that, but we can't say this about any other team. So anyway, this is @BestFans St. Louis. They're retweeting all this stuff, and I just can't even believe that this is what's going on. I'll just read the top one right here. From OG Scotty D says, "I hope all the Giants get AIDS in that gay fuckfest that they're having in that gay ass disgrace of a city. #Cardinals." Like, holy crap.
Like
What?
the next one from Waylon Davis. When the Cards get back from St. Louis, back to St. Louis, they probably better get an AIDS test from the San Fran Air.
Yeah.
First step of #off season.
I mean, this is unbelievable. This is crazy. So, yeah, I mean, I initially thought this can't be real, but then I clicked on these people's, on each of these people, like not every single one, but just to see, like, is this a real Twitter account here? Is this a real person doing this? And they are all real people. So these are real people tweeting out horribly inappropriate, homophobic things. And I can't believe that there's people like that in the world. But All right. So there you go. That's what I'm going to hate on.
All right. That's a good one.
All right. Why will we win it all? Chad, why are we going to win it all?
Look, 2010, I think their biggest guys they tried to beat were Halladay for the Phillies and Cliff Lee for the Rangers. Everyone said it couldn't be done. Everybody said this is their ace. There's no way you're getting through them because they can pitch 2 to 3 times in the series. They didn't even get to an elimination game. Took care of them, no problem. This is the same thing this year with Verlander. Yeah, granted, he's one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball and the American League, but he has his weaknesses. And if the Giants can get to him early, and Zito can settle down and they nab that first game, I think they got a shot. Second, and this is just kind of a statistical thing, this is the fourth time in Major League history that one team going to the World Series swept their LCS and the other team went to 7 games. So it's only happened 4 times before. This is the 4th time. The previous 3 times, the team that played the 7 games won.
That's a big time stat right there.
So that's pretty awesome. So out of the Dodgers versus Oakland in 88, the Dodgers went 7. Oakland swept. Cards versus Tigers in 06 and the Red Sox versus the Rockies in 07.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to keep that trend going.
Hell yeah. Dude, that's when people say, does the layoff hurt you or help you?
That's exactly what I was going to point out. I think it's a layoff. I really do.
The layoff hurts you, obviously, because everything about playoff baseball is about intensity, momentum, just continuity. That feeling of playing the games and being so into every pitch and everything being heightened so much. And what's happened for the Tigers is that hasn't been the case now for a lot of days, you know? They've been around having leisurely practices, kind of saying, all right, who are we going to face? Who are we going to face? And then all of a sudden you have to get out there and you got to turn that intensity back on. And it's not going to be hard for the Giants after what's happened the last 3 days. Or the last 4 days, excuse me. But it will be tough, I think, for Detroit. And you got to start here in San Francisco, too. And you got to turn that intensity up right away when you know this city is completely ready for this game 1. I mean, I was on the streets last night. This city is ready for game 1.
I am so excited about tomorrow. I am going to see the bunting and the revelry, and just the atmosphere is going to be incredible. And I went to both rounds, game 1 of the NLDS and the NLCS, and it was amazing. But this is the World effing Series.
Yep.
It doesn't get any better than this.
This is big. This is big time. All right, I'm saying we're going to win it all because my Rally Sloppy Joes at Zeke's cannot lose. And if we get into a must-win situation, you better believe I'll be ordering some Sloppy Joes at Zeke's. That's for damn sure. I'm probably going to be there when we don't have to win anyway, just because it's just, at this point, come on. You can't mess with a winning formula. You just can't do it.
There you go.
All right, so that's going to do it for this episode. Kind of a long one, but hey, a lot to talk about. If you're a Giants fan, I'm sure you don't care about extra listening. I mean, I was listening to KNBR all freaking day today.
Yeah,
I mean,
me too.
There's everything in my life right now is ruled by the Giants, and
this is where you soak it all up. This
exactly.
is where you just listen. You're just savoring the moment. You're like, look, this doesn't happen that often. Just soaking up as much information, just prepping, feeling good about the win last night. You just want it to last.
And I heard somebody say something about the debate being on.
I didn't see any of it. I don't care. Whatever.
Here's what the quote was. Well, elections only happen every 4 years, so I'm going to enjoy that, whatever. And my thought on that was, Giants in the World Series. If that happened every 4 years, we'd be the happiest people on the face of the earth as Giants fans. I mean, that does not happen every 4 years.
I'd take that.
Much less than every 4 years. And you don't know how many of these times in your life you're going to get. I mean, this could be the last time in my lifetime this ever happens. I don't know. It definitely could be. I mean, look at the Cubs fans,
Oh, boy.
I mean, in 1908 or whatever it was anybody thinking like he'll never go back?
Yeah.
I'm sure they weren't thinking that. So I'm going to friggin' enjoy the hell out of it. And I'm going to savor all of this. And you know what? If you want to bet me about anything about playoff baseball this year, you're going to lose that bet, because I'm going to read every word that's written. I'm going to listen to all the KNBR I can get my hands on. It's nothing but Giants here on out until the World Series is over. Then I'll rest and give my liver a chance to recuperate. So
yeah, I'm a little sore on the right side of my abdomen right now.
Yeah, a little bit. All right, so thanks for listening to episode 40 of the TortureCast, the World Series preview episode, World Series 2012. It doesn't get better than this. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do that. We're at TortureCast. You can also follow each one of us individually. Chad is at ChadK21. Ben is at Fried Duck. I am at Willie Dills. You can also find our blog, torturecast.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can like us there. You can donate if you want using a PayPal button and help us keep this going. Give us 5-star reviews on iTunes. You can do all these things. Just go ahead and do them. Be excited, you guys. And friggin' go Giants, dude. This is unbelievable. So we'll see you next time after the World Series. A lot to talk about. So much to talk about. Boom.
A big thank you to everybody for listening to the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying, we'll see you next time.